Tabletop Weekly, and we're the partners of Solarian Games.
I'm James.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Pete.
And this week's stories, we have got a new game coming out called Miami 86. Dungeons & Dragons stamps are going on sale in the UK this week, and Wizards of the Coast has a new president. But to get started, let's take a look at some of the freebies that are out and available this week. Peter, you want to start us off?
Yeah, hold on. Freebies that are out this week. So there is this cool freebie that I saw called the. I just had it. Sorry.
Delicious in Dungeon.
Delicious in Dungeon, right? And it's based off the anime, and it's basically you are adventurers in a dungeon, and part of what you do there, or I guess a big part of what you do there, is to kill monsters and cook them. So you have take the spleen of a beholder and chop it up with some nice chutney from the eye of a basilisk. I don't know, but that sounds really cool. I love to cook. I cook all the time, and I take great pride in my cooking. This sounds like right up my road.
And then what else we have that's for free this week?
Well, I was looking at Shadow Scar, Eyes in Darkness, which is Artel Sorian's game's newest release. Well, it's actually going to be new in a bit. Right now, there's only like a quick start out. But from what I gather from it, it's a different system than Interlink, which is the game system that they've been using for years in Cyberpunk and the Witcher RPG. So that's going to be a change for them. But it looks like an interesting mix of like Asian folklore, planet travel, and kind of a weird deity controlling different types of technology worlds, like a steampunk, a futuristic one, things like that. So it kind of sounds fun. And I'm a big fanboy of Mike Pondsmith, so I'll probably just get it to look at it at some point.
Cool. And the other one that I noticed was a game called Black Blood. They have the expanded rulebook, and it seems like a very simple D20 system, and it says here that it's inspired by the index card role-playing game, ICRPG. So something I haven't checked out before, but simple D20 and OSR is an interesting mix, so sounds fun to try.
Yeah.
And in our first story, we said we're going to talk about this new game called Miami 86. And the subtitle here is Cocaine Cowboys, High-Speed Chases, and Deadly Shootouts in the Vice-Filled 80s Miami. And there is a one-pager you can actually get for free already. We'll put a link in the show notes to that. But they do have the Kickstarter or some kind of crowdfunding coming up soon. And we all took a look at the one-page edition.
Yep. I can actually start. So it one of the things that I thought I was kind of a little bit like disappointed on was that it looks like you are actually playing like the drug dealers and the kingpins of Miami. So it's like I was expecting, oh cool, I can wear my blazer and a t-shirt and totally do like Miami Vice, but that doesn't seem the flavor for this. But it is a D20 system. It's very OSR like, but instead of having to roll high as we're used to in most RPGs, you want to roll low. So like 1 is always a success and 20 is always going to be a failure. But it still has the same trappings. You have your hit points. Your combat is basically going against your dex by making a dex check. So again, the one-page edition might be really simplified, so I can't speak to the actual edition, but that's what I've picked up so far.
Yeah, I actually hadn't read it carefully enough, and now I see what you're talking about. I was hoping we could be Sonny and Crockett too. I guess it's pretty fun to be the bad guys, but it would be great if there was a few places where I could at least drive a Testarossa for a moment and fuck them. I do like the vehicle list they have in here, though. The first one right on the top of the list is a Ford Pinto for $5,000, which I don't know if these prices are meant to be 80s prices.
I'm not sure. Ford Pinto was my first car. It's the first car I ever had.
Actually, you know what? That probably is, because I see a Porsche 911 Carrera for $32,000. So you're definitely not getting that today. I bet those are 80s prices. So yeah, I think you can go back and buy your Ford, Pete.
Yeah, nice.
Your Pinto. And yeah, it looks pretty fun. I mean, it looks like we could do a lot with this as gamers, beyond what it starts with.
Oh yeah, definitely. The flavor of it would be awesome.
And the art's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope they would maybe someday expand it into, because I mean, 80s is, I think 80s were all our decades as far as that goes. So it's always fun to have something to go back to that time period. So it'd be neat if they kind of expanded that, I don't know, to like, I don't know, like New Wavers or something, or
Yeah.
whatnot.
But James, when we play, I can like have my character meet you and go, James, you son of a bitch.
But I'd have a Gremlin though, AMC
Yeah.
Gremlin. Although
Okay.
I think that was
Oh,
70s,
nice.
but yeah.
I've started collecting Matchbox cars of all the cars that I would collect if I had the money to be a real life collector. So that's sort of scratching my itch at this point.
That'd be
Okay.
awesome. So, Jason, you need to build a tiny garage in your own garage and set it up with all your Hot Wheels in it and have a door that opens up so you can show people going, look at my car collection. Click.
Probably will.
And you can get like a Jay Leno action figure to put in there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I should do. I found this car carrier that I remember always wanting from the Sears Wish book as a kid, and got a copy of that. I get a copy of it. I got one of those, and so that's got me started on all of this. And just looks like my video has frozen up.
Yeah, in a great pose too.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and fix that.
It always freezes in the worst possible way. So if you guys are watching this is the first episode, so we're gonna have a few glitches here and there.
Let me just go ahead and get this sorted out. It looks like because I'm using this thing called Camo Camera, so this is going to be a good advertisement for not doing that anymore.
Dude, that shot you're in right now is almost memeable.
Yeah, it is.
All right, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to put me on a regular old crappy camera here.
That's fine. So
that at least it will work. Am I back?
Yep.
Yeah, you're back.
All right, there we go. Yeah. Sorry about that.
It says first show. We're working out the bugs.
All right. So, hey, we talked about Miami 86 and talking about TV shows from the 70s and the 80s. Just a little mention. We noticed that there is a new game coming out for Space 1999. So this is not some Miami Vice fakery where they're pretending it's Miami Vice, but they can't use the words. This is actually Space 1999.
Right. Yeah.
And go ahead, James.
Oh, no. I was just going to say that I don't honestly, I don't remember the show. I remember it was done by George Powell.
Yeah.
Was one of the people who did like Gumby and did like a bunch of other like cool things. So for sci-fi, but like all I remember is the cool ship because I think I had a model of that when I was a kid.
Yeah, with the 4 feet coming down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Martin Landau was in it, right?
Yeah. I totally remember the show being a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know I have seen it. I just could not tell you anything about it. It's not like old Star Trek episodes where I could talk to you about like, in this episode they did. I don't know. I know I had to have seen it.
I don't think I ever saw an episode. I think I'm in the same place. I saw the toys as a kid. I saw the ads. I probably wanted to watch it. Maybe it was on too late for my bedtime or something. I don't know. But I went and I tried to watch a bit of it today, first time ever. And I didn't have time to watch a whole episode, but I'm actually really excited to. It is a beautiful looking show. I mean,
it's hard sci-fi, right?
I have no idea. No idea. I got like 10 minutes.
It seems like it.
So the special effects, there's 70s special effects. So you're not going to get anything, mind blowing out of that. If you're watching it expecting anything modern, it's not like that. But just the set design, the uniforms, the spaceships themselves, it's beautiful. The acting looked really good. I'm looking forward to watching it, and I'm probably going to buy the game because of that.
Yeah.
So good for them.
Yeah, sounds good.
Moving on. Next piece of news is that the D&D stamps are going to be coming out this week, but here's the catch: not in the United States, but in the UK. So a lot of United States-based gamers probably know that this is the 50th anniversary of Dungeons & Dragons, and the United States Post Office is releasing Dungeons & Dragons themed stamps to go along with that. And here in the United States, they're going to do the first day of issue at Gen Con on August in the Indianapolis Stadium, Lucas Oil Stadium, I think is where it's going to happen. So the post office will have a big thing there. We knew about that. And then September 1st, they will be coming out for everybody. But if you want D&D stamps even earlier, this week they're actually coming out July 25th in the UK. And we have here the page from the Royal Mail. And there is a lot more than just stamps that you can buy. Do you guys have the page up?
I don't have that page up, but if you do, you can hit share, Jason, and I'll put it on the
I
screen.
am not sharing it.
Okay.
But we can just talk about it.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't want to get involved with buttons that I don't know how to press, but
Okay.
they have got, I'll just give you a list of some of the things you can get here. You can get, of course, like a presentation pack of the stamps, 24 pounds, 40 pence. A little bit more expensive than that. For about 50 pounds, you can get the Prestige stamp book, or you can get, for 150 pounds, a framed mimic enlarged print signed by Wayne Reynolds.
Ah, there we go.
They have collector's sheets, beholder ingots, which I don't even know exactly what that's going to be because the images aren't coming up on my screen. There they are. And many, many, many more things. I think I haven't added this all up, but I'm pretty sure you could spend £1,000 if you wanted to, just buying one of each of these collectibles from the UK Royal Mail. And the good news is, I think it's good news if you want to spend all your money, that you can buy these worldwide. You don't have to be in the UK to buy these.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, we were talking about this before, man. I'm like, did you ever think you would hear those words come out of anyone's mouth that the U.S. Post Office is going to have a booth at Gen Con?
Yeah.
Like what?
It's amazing.
It's surreal. That's cool. It's very cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wonder, has this has to have happened before, that I'm sure companies have had something they've done be celebrated by the post office before, right? Like maybe Campbell's Soup or somebody, or
Maybe. Yeah, it would have to. It would have to. I mean, this
Well,
can't be
they-
the first time.
or the first something.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I was just going to say they actually ran a Star Trek stamps in the past.
That's right. They did.
I own them here somewhere amongst all my.
They had to have Star Wars stamps too, I guarantee you.
I don't remember
So-
Star Wars, but I remember Batman and Star Trek.
Okay, so did the UK also do them? Because that's the other thing I'm wondering. Has there ever been a time before that both the United States and the United Kingdom issued the same theme of stamps at the same time?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good.
That's
Good
a
trivia
good
question.
Yeah, maybe one of our listeners, if we
Yeah.
haven't.
Yeah.
Maybe our listener can tell us.
Right now, I'm the listener.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I heard, and again, I don't know if it's true, but that it's I feel it's kind of a loss that they're not going to have any like Fiend Folio art or any of the D&D UK artwork in the UK stamps.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know,
It's definitely very, at least the UK stamps, as far as I can tell, they look like they're very just new art, which is understandable. But if it's supposed to be for the 50th anniversary, you'd kind of think you'd see some 50th anniversary art.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I
they
wanna see
have
some
the
Sutherland.
classic Elmore in there. It looks
Yeah.
like, so at least that's one.
I was kidding about our listener, but here's Linda the Gamer Gal, and she has told us she
wow.
has no clue. She has no clue, but neither do I.
Yay. Well,
Oh, we
thanks
have a
for watching,
listener.
Linda. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be really. I haven't looked again at what's coming out in the United States. I think, you know what? Let's just find out. I think we're getting more old school, but there we go. And pulling it up, what are we going to get from the US? Oh no, it's still no. Wait, there's an Elmore piece. I see an Elmore piece.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's an Elmore. What?
Okay.
An Elmore.
I'll take it.
All right, sweet. That's good. And speaking of D&D,
Yeah, speaking of D&D, Wizards of the Coast has a new president. So his name is John Haidt. He is now, I'm looking at his LinkedIn. He is president of Wizards of the Coast and Digital Gaming, overseeing strategy for Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, and digital games. That is his full title on LinkedIn. So, and apparently I'm connected to him somehow. I don't know why that is. Okay.
right?
But he seems like a good guy. I mean, I was looking at him a little bit here. I don't know about him before, but he came over most recently from Blizzard Entertainment, where he was basically running Warcraft. So it says here, previously I was general manager and SVP, senior vice president, for Warcraft at Blizzard, including World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, and Warcraft Rumble games and media. And he did this for a long time. So definitely from the gaming world. But then reading a little bit more about him, I see that he is a longtime gamer, loves D&D, which is good. We don't always get that. And yeah, he just generally looks like I have high hopes for him. I have high hopes.
Yeah, I mean, I will agree with you there. He does look like a gamer. Like he completely looks like a, our generation gamer, like a Gen X gamer. But here, we talked about this in show notes, and I'll give my quick thoughts on this guy. Is that Blizzard is very well known for its microtransactions, like especially Hearthstone. Oh my God. And even World of Warcraft is subscription and additional microtransaction. So it makes me a little bit afraid that they're going to go whole hog in that direction, because they're already kind of moving a lot of stuff towards digital. The new VTT is going to be like, the altar of prayer. And to be honest, it's like, I don't want to see the game become like, oh, cool. Will you want to play this type of elf? $1.99. Go ahead. And pick that in.
Yeah.
So,
although, oh my God, I didn't even think of that, James. I'm so glad you said that. I always forget about all the push towards digital that Hasbro and Wizards is doing. And this totally makes sense. Like, this really makes sense now. You got a guy who's used to a digital, like, not digital tabletop, but I mean, essentially, it's what co-op playing is a lot like, making connections with people online. So yeah, I think, that is very strategic.
And
go ahead.
I mean, you got to kind of expect it that at this point. So the only 5e game that I'm playing is online, and with friends back west, and yeah, we're doing everything through D&D Beyond. And sure, I prefer to go pick up the books and everything, but it's easier for me as I'm sitting here trying to figure out my artificer build to just start using digital tools. And I can't imagine. I feel like this is just completely my opinion. I have no idea about anything, but I feel like over the coming very soon number of years, the physical books are going to become the equivalent of vinyl records. Like, people buy them so that they can have them on the shelf and they can look at it and say, I got a thing. But with vinyl records, I mean, they probably just go and listen to it on Spotify and just put the record up. And I think it's going to be the same thing. You buy the book, you put it on your shelf, and just don't ever pull it down.
Yeah, I'm trying to be very open-minded, because I've been playing since 1980. I'm trying not to be a Luddite. I'm also trying not to shiny new thing and just do that either. Like, trying to figure out my place, exactly how you feel like. And for my own personal gaming group, we use Google Drive a lot. We put our character sheets up on the drive that way. And we've also started taking to playing where people are using their laptops and stuff and just having their character sheet online. It's easier than printing it out every week. So I'm not against it. I'm not 100% against it. I do like playing in person, and I do like books.
Yeah.
The only thing is for me that it fundamentally changes the nature of the table game, because not everybody's like this. Some people are. I am, what I'm about to say, which is that if I open my laptop to get one thing, all the distractions of the world are just a click away.
Yep. Yeah, because so Mary and I play in one 5e game, and it's but we both use our tablets for our D&D Beyond. So D&D Beyond is actually a very useful tool.
It's well made.
It's very well done compared to their previous attempts with like 4th edition. They did that digital thing that never worked out, and they tried it with 3.52 and it never worked out. But one of the things though is that, I don't know, there's still that, as Pete said, there's still that feeling of having those books, having the physical dice, sitting at a table, your scratched up, dirty, over erased character sheet there in front of you. You're trying to go, wait, what's that bonus? Because I erased it several times and wrote in other things.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, right? Like, that's our generation, right?
Yep.
Our generation isn't going to be around forever. And, the gaming, you got a lot of young people coming in, and that's what they like. I mean, my daughter, like, if I handed her paper and stuff to write on for a game, she might be like, what is this? Or she might not. I don't know. She likes vinyl. So I don't know. You guys be proud of me. She's she's actually well trained. She still loves vinyl and likes, she's one of the kids that'll put her phone down.
Well, so that's the thing. I was mentioning the distractions for me, and I thought maybe this is just a generational thing. Like I grew up with computers, but I didn't grow up with smartphones, so or laptops. They're too distracting to me. But I moved to a new city, moved to a new state. I'm getting to know all my neighbors, and so meeting people of all different generations now. And one kid that I've gotten to know I'm trying to remember if he's out of high school yet or not. I think he's still a senior in high school. And he showed me his phone for something, and it was all grayscale. And I was like, oh, what's this? And he's like, oh, I have to keep it that way because it's too distracting. I try to keep myself away from the screens. I got all these things. He's like, I'm doing sports. I've got an internship at this company. I'm trying to do my schoolwork. I'm trying to be with my friends. And if I forget to, so I've got to make my phone not distracting. So, maybe, I mean, that's one data point, right? But maybe it's a problem for everybody. Maybe people just generally want to be able to focus on one thing at a time and look at a book.
Well, I'm going to throw in a generational gap there too that's gaming related. So a friend of mine, I think you both know Oscar Rios, the guy who writes for Chaosium. Yep. So he was telling a story in a forum, a panel we did, and he said that he had all this stuff set up, handouts and things like that to give to the players. And he had this handout for like a 1920s game. It was basically a piece of a diary from someone that had to read it. So he handed it to the player, very young, either late teen or early 20-something. And he looks at it confused, almost kind of like, wait, what language is this in? And hands it back to Oscar and says, I can't read this.
What?
It was in cursive.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's going to be a weird little donut is in history, because for a minute there, everybody was saying, oh, kids are just not smart enough to learn cursive. We can't make them do that. And then that kind of backfired. And now several states have put it back into the curriculum. A lot of people are going, you know what? It turns out that it's actually helpful to be able to write fast. Writing fast is good.
I don't particularly like it, but I see the value in it. And one of the things that I think is super important is that all the original documents for our country are written in cursive.
Yeah, so I don't buy that argument at all.
I like it. I just like it because you can always go back to read the source. I like being able to read the source.
I see people bring that argument up. I don't buy it because there's a lot of things that are written in old scripts that no one can read, and we still know what they say. We know what the Sumerian uniform tablets say.
I know.
So I think that the real argument is that there's a value to being able to write, because if you're going to write, you might as well write fast.
Right. And the other argument too is that, I don't know if it's an argument. I'm just saying it's an argument. But if you look at historical records, because we were in Sturbridge, Massachusetts, where they have this like old reproduction of a colony from like early New England. It's actually kind of cool. Jason, you should check it out when you get a chance. It's just right on the tip of Massachusetts. But anyway, they were talking about how people did paperwork back then. Because when they showed all these historical documents, they were written out nicely by the lawyer or whoever did it. And there's a giant X at the bottom because no one knew how to write their name.
Yeah.
Right.
So I hate this going back to that.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
But look at digital signing now. And I know I'm probably going over in time, but think about like when people ask you to sign on the tablet when you go to buy something.
Awful. It's like,
it's basically you're doing an X because no one could read what you're writing. I've seen people do smiley faces or just.
I always draw a little picture of a bird or something.
Yeah, I just like a scribble. It's like you're not going to read this anyway. No one's ever.
So we're theoretically going back to the X, but anyway, that's just,
So going back to John Haidt, let's go back to John Haidt. A couple more things in here that I think people might be interested in. So you already mentioned the VTT. That's a big deal. We've talked about. He is a World of Warcraft guy, but I think we are well past 4th edition, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But one other little thing that popped out in this particular article from the Fundamentals, which is a neat little blog, is about AI. And so this is not anything he said while he's at WotC, but this actually came when he was still at Blizzard in 1824, in April 24.
Right.
And somebody had asked him about AI, and here's the quote from John Haidt. I am the son of an aeronautical engineer and a fine artist. My mom was an aeronautical engineer and my dad was a fine artist. So I have an appreciation for the creative process, what an artist goes through in their imagination. I think the artists on the team have a fear that AI will be deployed to take them out of a job, and they don't want their work to be used without their permission or without credit or whatever else. The rights issues, how far do we use this technology? I don't know, but we're not using it. We're not using generative AI within World of Warcraft. So, good news, I think, for the artists and writers who still want to art and write, hopefully. And he replaces, of course, Cynthia Williams, who steps down from her role that she basically came in as a replacement for Chris Cox as he went on to head up Hasbro. And kind of sounds like she had to come in and be the hatchet man a little bit to kind of fix things up. And unfortunately, the hatchet man doesn't get to be popular and run the ship afterwards. So it sounds like she probably did a heroic job that had to be done that was unpopular. And now someone gets to come in and take all the credit and be the popular one.
Right.
So, but
yeah, because I mean, like, people get upset when somebody comes in and they start firing all these employees and stuff. But at the end of the day, every company, the company's there to make money. They're not, it's like, and sometimes there's tough decisions have to be made. Very unfortunate. I don't want anyone to lose their job ever. I think it sucks when somebody has to lose their job. But at the same time, like, it's sort of like that thing where if some people don't lose their job, everyone's going to lose their job.
Yeah, the unfair thing is that, it's usually because somebody made bad management decisions at some point. And so now, unfortunately, everybody downhill has to take the brunt of it. And that's no fun. But I'm just saying that when Cynthia Williams had to come in and do these things, good for her for being able to keep the company alive. And I hope.
Sounds familiar. Kind of sounds like a podcast we're all listening to at the moment.
Yes. I don't know what you're talking about. So
I'm not talking about that.
Moving on. Hey, here's a little thing. For those people who maybe aren't wanting to play D&D as all these kind of things go on, does anybody remember RuneQuest?
Double hands. Yep.
Yes. So now, right now, there is a humble bundle, and we'll throw this in the show notes for $18. That is 1-8. That is $18. You can get all the main RuneQuest books, presumably on PDF. But still, being able to get, I'm just going to go through the list. No, I'm not. I can't read all these. There is one. I'll just read how many there are. There are 18 books. You get basically $1 a book. And you're seeing this is an amazing deal.
Real quick, James, you played RuneQuest. I played it one time maybe. Mm-hmm. We always wanted to. I always wanted to play it more, but I didn't really get a chance to just because of the way the group went. But like, can you tell us what RuneQuest is real quick? Like, what makes RuneQuest?
Sure. First I'll do my name dropping and bragging. So I actually got to play RuneQuest with the late great Greg Stafford, the person who created it. So that's kind of like my, I don't know, it's not a crowning achievement, but it's something I feel kind of proud that I got to do. But anyway, RuneQuest is actually a Bronze Age fantasy RPG. So it's no steel, no medieval trappings at all. It's very tribal based, tribal and religious. So your characters, could be warriors, whatever. Runes are actually used as magic and everyone can have access to them. But depending on what your role is in society is what runes that you actually learn. And again, it's basically, you have your various empires who are trying to kind of come in and wipe out the tribes and basically, kind of like the Romans coming in and, doing that
sort of thing. Like your Hittites and your Minoans and your...
Yep. With RuneQuest, you have the Lunar Empire, which is the ones that are kind of marching in. But it's a really good game. The system's different if you play D&D. It's D100 based, so it's all percentile. But honestly, I would for $18. I bought it myself because and I own part of those on hard. I actually have the hardcovers of all of those, and then the PDFs were very helpful. But if you want a different flavor, if you want something I think that's more primal than D&D, RuneQuest is definitely the way to go. And in the 18, they actually give you the quick start of RuneQuest 2nd edition, which is the the one that basically kind of didn't start at all. First edition did, but it became second edition, obviously. It's a great little book, and also just kind of gives you a huge overview. And the world's a little complicated, I'll give you that. So Gloriantha, which is the world it's set in, has a lot of nuances. So it's something you can jump into, especially with the starter set it comes with. But definitely understand that if you really, really want to do RuneQuest right, there's a lot of lore that needs
some reading you got to do.
Yeah.
It sounds like the lore might be a big draw. So wait,
Yeah.
has anybody written novelizations of it or anything?
I know there's been a lot of, so there's like the Gloriantha supplements and things like that Greg wrote, which aren't games, they're just whole books on Gloriantha itself. I want to say yes to that, but I'm not 100% sure if
it sounds like an amazing world. I actually want to try this now. I think we have to find a way to get a game going. This sounds really great.
Yeah, I'd be happy to run it. I've run RuneQuest for years, but no one ever wants to play, because as soon as they go, oh, it's Bronze Age and I can't have magic swords and whatever, it's like, man.
I want to try it. We'll
yeah, me too.
We'll give it a shot.
Yeah, we have to do it. We'll do that sometime.
All right, awesome.
All right. What else is there?
Peter, I believe you have one more thing.
I do have one more thing. All right. So here, you know what? I'm going to share this. Give me 1 second. My wife let the dogs in here for some reason. Let me share screen, and I know I have it open. I'm sorry. My bad. Here it is. So Solarian Games, you may have heard of them. That's us. Yeah. We are about to release I'm going to open up the PDF. This is the pre-release look. This is a book called Operation Landfall, done by Scott Congable.
Have one right here.
Yep, there it is. So Scott and I put this together. Scott did the initial writing, and then I helped him. I guess what do you call it? Jason is producer, right? I helped produce it, I guess, would be the way to go. So then we threw this thing together. It's a nice little Black Ops book, which is a little mini adventure. It's probably about 4 hours. You could extend it to more if you wanted to. And that will come out. That will come out in the next what is it, Jason? Next week or so?
It is at the printers right now, and I think I'll be picking them up tomorrow. Like nice. I said, this is one of the proofs. So it's got little markings all over it where I realized I had to fix a little thing. But all this stuff is fixed. It's got the UPC. Where is my camera? It's got the UPC code. It's ready to go. I'll be picking them up tomorrow. We just got to get them to the warehouse, but we can put them on sale so people get the PDF right away and then get the physical copy sent to them ASAP.
Yeah, it's a good one too. I mean, it's got an adventure, but then the back part of the book, the third of the book in the back, just tells you how to do infills, infiltration into another country by way of water. So submarines, boats, whatever. Coastal infiltration. So it's cool. It's a very cool little book.
We should point out that these Black Ops, these are the smaller adventures. So these sell for only $10 each. So people can just pick them up and play quickly.
Yes.
And on that note, it is time to end. So thanks everybody for listening. And this has been Tabletop Weekly. We will see you next week.
See you next week.
See you next week.